do something you're already paying for is
Right.
seems straightforward enough, but cool.
And I know that, Jim, you had shared a lot of feedback for us, which was awesome. So we are, and I think Caitlin will say this in the presentation too, some things that are currently getting upgraded and, additional things that'll happen over the next few months for the tool, which is pretty cool. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate how open to feedback you all were. That's really great. It's a good sign.
Well, we're honestly one of the first groups to really use the tool. There's a lot of other orgs that are using Acquire4Hire as well, but I think TBC was really the first one that it was launched to. So, and it's something that was built in-house. So really the only way to improve it, I mean, other than the basics that we all know, is to hear from the members and to hear from people using it all the time and see like what other things we might not have thought of. All right, I started recording. I'll just wait for people to jump on.
Sounds good.
Lacey, how many people did you say we expect today?
So we had 21 registered. We also had about 10 or 15 say that they asked for the recording after because they aren't available at this time. So we have a lot of views, like the financing webinar. We had quite a few people on that call, but the views after have been pretty popular as well. So, and this is something we're going to house in Member Center so that when you guys probably won't use it again, but new members and existing members will be able to use this as a reference. So,
Do you know of the people who are registered, how many of them are currently using it and how many people are not using it? I'm just wondering.
I'm honestly not sure. I didn't go through the list. There's a lot of people using Acquire4Hire that I wasn't aware of. So I think, there's a lot of facets here. I think, one thing for Dimitri might be how it works for, multi-locations. We have a few retailers that had registered for the call that have several locations, so they might have questions specifically about that. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they might not speak up at all. This could go by in 10 minutes. Who knows? On the financing webinar, we had quite a few members come in like 10 minutes early before the thing started. So they were all just part of our prep conversation.
I have a feeling people are going to start jumping on even after, because nobody likes to be the first person to show up to the webinar and have the camera pointing right at them like,
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. I'll be sad if no one shows up. That we can still go through everything, but We got a couple people popping on now. If you're joining the call, we're just leaving a few minutes for people to hop on. I know everybody's really, really busy right now, so we'll just give it a couple more minutes before we start. Matt, you want to give me a time?
It is 2 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Everybody just joining in, we're just giving a few more minutes for people to sign on before we get started. All right, I will go ahead and get started. And as people keep signing on, just know that everybody that this is being recorded, so you can go back and watch it anytime you need. We'll have it available in your member center. So welcome everybody to the Acquire4Hire webinar. I'm really excited for you all to be here, and thank you so much for making time. I know everybody's incredibly busy right now and lots of challenges going on in all the stores. Acquire4Hire is a great tool that we developed internally about 2 years ago. It is a free tool that is available to you through your member center. At this point, we feel that it's a really good thing to hold the webinar just so that those who haven't used it will be able to see exactly what it's about, as well as hear from members who have used it before and have been successful with it. There's always opportunity to learn. I think I'm probably going to learn a few things today as well. So what we're going to do is go through some introductions, and then we're going to go through a short demo of the Acquire4Hire tool, and then you're going to hear from a couple of your fellow members with their success stories and what they've been able to use the tool for, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Everybody at this point is on mute, and if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and we can address them either during the call if it pertains to whatever the subject matter is at that time, or we can go over at the end. And this is going to be a relatively short webinar, so I hope everybody's able to stay on for the whole thing. All right, so I am Lacey, and I am the business consultant for the membership for the Bike Cooperative, and I will be leading the webinar. Caitlin is our product specialist for Acquire4Hire, so she will be running the demo and probably answering the majority of the questions that you have as well. We also have Dimitri from Old Town Bicycle, who is a fellow member, as well as Jim from Peak Sports. All right, Caitlin, go ahead.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, can you see the Acquire4Hire platform now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you for having me on this call, Lacey. I'm excited to do this short demo for you guys. So this is the main screen that you'll land on when you get into Acquire4Hire from your Member Center account. You can see it's the Jobs tab here. To create a new post, you'll click the Create New. And then from here, we have the job templates, which is the quickest way to get started with posting a job within Acquire4Hire. The Bike Cooperative has started off with some job templates for you to use right within here. So as you click it, you can see that it does populate throughout the whole post. Of course, you can edit to go along more with your branding and the position that you are hiring for. Another quick way to get started is to type in a job up here. So I can do marketing if you're looking for a marketing manager. Click there, and then it will populate down there as well. For this, I'll just keep it on this bicycle technician position. I'll do the part-time. So as you scroll down, you'll see that there's the summary field, duties, requirements, nice to haves, benefits. The nice to have and benefits are not required to be included in your job posting, but it could just help sweeten the deal if the applicant does have the details right up front. As you scroll down in the job editing fields, you can see you can add the salary here. You can choose to show the salary within the job posting or not, as well as require the applicant to attach a resume. And then there's also this auto renew job posting function. This is really useful because this means after 30 days, the job will just automatically renew as a new job on, our major platforms that we partner with. So that just takes it off of your hands a little bit, and you can rest assured that after 30 days, it will boost up to the top of those job sites again. Down here, there are additional fields that are optional, education, job type, if it's remote or not, and then just experience things down here. And I'll put this into a workflow. We'll get back to the workflow process in a little bit. And then down here, you'll see the notification emails, and this is a really important part of the job post as well, because this will actually show when there's a new incoming applicant who will receive the email notifications for these. So if you wanted both admins to receive it, it's as easy as clicking their name, putting it over, or if you want to remove them. Another really important aspect of the job post is this meta description. So this is what is actually used on when it goes into Google and different things, sites like that. This can really help make your job stand out upon competing job posts. And once you have it all set, ready to go, you just simply click Post Job. From here, you can choose to, copy and paste the links into your actual social channels. We do recommend that you do this just to increase visibility to these job posts, as well as the URL to post to Craigslist. Here, we'll do I'm finished. And you can see that on this job tabs now, it has been posted live on March 23rd. At any time on this jobs board, you can pause a job simply by clicking this toggle. Are you sure you want to pause? Yes. And as well as if you had a previous hire, maybe that position's opening again. And if it's the same details, it's as simple as turning the toggle back on and saying that you are ready. Another feature to point out on this jobs tab is that you can actually filter it. So if you only want to see the jobs that are currently active and posted on job sites, or anything that had been paused previously, as well as anything that's in the draft status. So from there, anyone that does apply to the job will be in this incoming jobs tab. Here we can see Elgin Davis. I can see that a colleague has already rated them a 4 stars. You can see their resumes from this page, as well as cover letters, the date that they had submitted their application, and the job that they had applied for. From here, you can also add private notes that's strictly internal. The applicant will never see these. And then the other actions are, so if my colleague had already rated them 4 stars, if I had already reviewed their resume and I think they are a good fit for this bicycle technician position, I can do the thumbs up to move them to candidates. If they weren't a great fit, I can remove them from consideration by clicking the no sign. But for this, I'll give them the thumbs up. And they are removed from the incoming tab. And you can see that the number has dropped down by 1. So I'll click in here. I can see that Elgin Davis is now in the candidates tab. So I'll move them through. Say I already scheduled the phone call, already performed the phone interview, scheduled their in-person interview, performed their interview. Maybe they needed a second round of interviews. And just bring them through all of the steps within the workflow, checking their references. And then if we extend the offer, that's the last step in this workflow. From here, if they had decided, not to take the job, we do the no sign here. And if they did accept the position, we could give them the thumbs up and move them into the hires. So do the thumbs up. And from here, you can see that I clicked on this one for this, but so now Sheriff Ahmed is now in the hires tab. These are never removed, so it is just kind of a nice way to look back at your employees that are currently working for you, reference their resumes and cover letters at any time. Moving down, I'll go to the applicants tab. So within the applicants tab, you can see that there's an alert here, and this means that I have a communication that I have not yet read from an applicant. So if I click on this, within the actual applicant's name, we can see the whole chain of any communications we've had, any actions that have occurred. If they had been private notes from any of my colleagues within the team, they would show up here as well. And then you can see the applicant's phone number, their email address. You can add a private note from the screen as well. I'll show you what that looks like. It's for internal use only. And if we send them an email, you could just type the subject and body here and send. So this is a really nice quick overview of anything that applicant had done. Sometimes it may even be the case that they had applied last year when the job was open. You can quickly come back here and reference, oh yeah, we talked to them and whatever was a fit or wasn't a fit. So moving down, I'll go to workflows. So as you had seen, so the templates are already set up for you if you do use those, but there is some work that is needed if you did want to change up anything. So we do have the part-time workflow that's in here on this demo account, and then the full-time. So I'll just quickly look at the full-time workflow. So this would be each of those steps on the candidates tab that I had moved them through. These are already populated in here for you, but if you did say, don't really need to do a reference check, don't really need to do second round interview, it's as simple as just dragging and dropping them and saving. Or if there's a step in here that you typically do within your hiring process that isn't listed, you can go ahead and just create a simple name for that step. That's workflows in a nutshell. And then other settings that are important to note within Acquire4Hire is within the actual settings tab. So the logo here, this will appear at the top of your job posts as well as your job board. Your company name, of course, is really important to list. Sometimes some companies try to keep it anonymous, if they're hiring for a position that currently someone is holding. But it is recommended that you do put your company name, just because in some cases it could be flagged as maybe a potential spam job posting if you don't actually want to list your company. And then down here we have the About Us section. it would just show up within the top of the job post for each of those as well. And then another really important part of Acquire4Hire are these response emails. So there are 2 different emails that are built into the system. It's when you move an applicant to a candidate, and then this other event is incoming applicant being removed from consideration. So you can go through here, edit these emails that would be sent from the system, and then you have the options here for your actions. You can choose to send it automatically once that candidate is moved into, or an applicant is moved into candidates, or when a candidate is removed from consideration. So you can send it automatically. You can have the system prompt you before sending if you did want to review the email before it goes out, or you can just not send any emails as an applicant is moved through the process. Another thing to note, you can see down here, this envelope, this means this is the chat. So myself or another person of the support team here is available to answer any questions you have. If it is just the envelope, we will get back to you within 2 business days at most. But typically we are here and live and ready to answer any of your questions. Looking through, and that's really the whole program in a nutshell. I know I went through that rather quickly, but just to save on time, I think I'll stop there. And then Lacey had mentioned just new features. We are always evolving the system. So any feedback that you guys have at any point, we're happy to take into consideration for improvements in the future. So we do have job boosts that will be coming out in about a month time frame from now, which more details will be available, and I'm sure you'll be receiving lots of email notifications and updates from our team just letting you know that it is available. But in a nutshell, it will be a feature that's added into each individual job post that you can choose to actually boost it so that it would have more visibility on these job platforms. So more details coming out on that, but something exciting to look forward to.
Thanks, Caitlin. Do you want to go over quickly the locations?
Oh, yes, sure. So yeah, skipped over the locations tab. So in here, so if you are a multiple location store, this locations function is really important. So right here, we have just 2 listed within here. If you did need to add a new location, you would fill in the required information here and save. As well as on this, when you're creating a new job, you'll want to be sure that the correct location is selected for your position. Currently within the system, there's not a way to duplicate one job post across each of your locations. And there's no time frame for when that will be released, but it is very important to make sure that you are selecting the correct location when you post your job.
Great. One quick question from Ken Bradford in California is, where are these jobs posted? Exactly where are job seekers going to be seeing them?
Yep, so we partner with 8 major job sites across the web. So off the top of my head, I know LinkedIn, Indeed, Google, Jora, CareerJet, just name a few, but I know there's a few others as well.
Great. Awesome. So now I'm going to move this over and so we can hear from the fellow members. So first I'll have Dimitri speak a little bit about his experience with Acquire4Hire and how he uses it for his 3 locations.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, I didn't know that I needed Acquire4Hire in my life. I thought I was doing fine with my, templated thing on my website, which we still have, and I get some action through that. But with being able to track incoming candidates and the workflows and the emails that automatically get sent to applicants when they're, when we either say, oh, we're not considering you, and it's a very polite email, or we're considering you and it has some excitement in it, all these things, I literally just didn't know I needed this. But if you're a member and you're not using this, it's possible you're doing yourself a bit of a disservice because you're already paying for it, and it really has improved the practice of hiring. Plus, then since it goes to so many different job boards, we're getting applicants, and it has not been nearly the challenge to find jobs with our own postings to Indeed and Craigslist and whatever. So yeah, we're extremely happy with the service, and I found it to be very successful. And it's tough to find employees right now. It weirdly in our market, but which I just onboarded a person today, actually, a new bike builder that was hired through the Acquire4Hire process. So yeah, I'd highly recommend using it. Yeah, I think if you take the time to set it up right, once you set it up the first time and make some tweaks to it, then it's just ready to go, ready to use.
Great. Great. Yeah. Is it, as far as having 3 locations, have you found it, do you hire per location, or do you guys typically just have employees go between the stores?
No, we do not have employees that go between stores, so we do hire specifically for a location. And yeah, so we have 3 job postings, for each. If there's a position that we need at each store, you can open it to all 3 stores. And occasionally some of our stores are a little bit close together, so we'll have a person will apply for the same job at 2 locations, but that's easy enough to filter out. And yeah, if you're multi-location, it should be just as simple a process as any of the other hiring that you're doing here. It's going to be all set up and ready to go.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate it. We're going to move over to Jim from Peak Sports, and you can share a little bit about your experience. And also, I know that you've used, you had mentioned to me that you had used other hiring platforms. So if you wanted to maybe compare and go over that too, that'd be great.
Yeah, thanks, Lacey. Yeah, so I'm from Peak Sports. We're in Oregon, and we have 2 locations. Our primary location has 3 storefronts. We have a bike shop and an outdoor store and a used gear store. And then we have another location that's about an hour away, an hour south, that's just a used gear store. So we have a lot of hiring going on all the time. We have between 30 and 35 employees at any time. So as you can imagine, having a centralized platform to manage all of our applicants in the hiring process has been really helpful. What I've used in the past is just a little bit of everything. So mostly Indeed and Craigslist and Facebook. What I like about this Acquire4Hire is that it populates out to those 10 plus hiring platforms, but you can also just grab the link and drop it into a social media post. Just last week or a couple weeks ago, our marketing manager put it in one of our promotional emails, which actually got a lot of clicks. And it's easy to put into a Craigslist ad. But once you put it on those platforms, instead of having to manage an entirely new incoming flow of applicants, like through Craigslist, for example, it routes everyone through Acquire4Hire. So I think that's been the biggest benefit for us, is just having a centralized location. So we're not getting overwhelmed with all of these different spots that we're supposed to be checking for correspondence. Other than that, I think just some things that we really enjoyed about it. The rating system is nice for working with multiple hiring managers. It's a good way to kind of communicate the rating for a candidate. And cover letters. I don't think it was mentioned in Caitlin's presentation. I don't remember if she mentioned it, but you can also ask for a cover letter in addition to the resume. And it shows up right in there with their next to the resume with their application, so you can click in and read the cover letter, which is nice for us. We use cover letters. We ask for cover letters and use it as kind of a screening.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. All right. So if anybody has any questions, you can place them right in the chat, or if you would rather speak up and ask, just put in the chat that you would like to ask a question and I can unmute you. And another thing to note is you can, through Member Center and Acquire4Hire, you can have as many users as you would like. So if you just want to set more people up to have access to Acquire4Hire, you can just let me know their first name, last name, and email, and I can get them signed up, and then they would have access to this tool.
I've got two questions for you, both Dimitri and Jim. Typically, how long after you post a job posting are you guys seeing applications come in? And on average, how many applications are you guys getting from the job postings?
I guess I'll start. Sometimes I'll post a job and I'll get a first application in an hour. Sometimes it might be a day or two. It seems to kind of vary wildly. I don't necessarily know why, but I almost always get some job applicants from any posting that gets bumped to the top. And how many applicants? It just depends, but sometimes 5 to 7 per position available, which is great. I mean, that's can find somebody out of that group normally that would be able to do the job. That's been our experience. What about you?
Very similar. As soon as it goes live, we start getting applications, and the number of applicants we get really depends on the position and the location. So for our main location, we get far more than we do for the newer location that we have that's about an hour south. And since we have a bike shop and an outdoor store, we have different positions that we advertise for those stores, and we get far more applicants for the outdoor store, probably 4 times as many than we do for bike shop positions.
Great. Yeah, I think this is there's a lot of orgs under the umbrella that CC or that the bike cooperative is part of that's also using this tool. So I think a lot of people have seen some pretty good success with it. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Did anybody else want to speak up, or anybody have questions for Caitlin or me or Dimitri? Awesome. See, quick webinar today. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. And like I said, this will be available through your member center. The recording will be, and I'll also send out an email after this is all set. If anybody has questions, please give me a call, shoot me an email, use the chat function within Member Center. I know that there's a lot of people out there that have used this tool that have seen success with it. So we hope that you're able to use it and use that chat within the Acquire4Hire tool if you have questions on the tool itself, and you can get your questions answered as well. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'm sure I'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Lacey.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.